Hey there, race fans. It's Race Day Top 5 with me, Frank 5. There was some big news in the motorsports world on Friday night involving one of the brand new teams in NASCAR and a champion that was a free agent a couple months ago but has now finally found a home to hopefully bring success to one of our brand new teams of this year with a bright future ahead of them. Let's talk about all that went down on Friday night. Just to start things off, I was in the middle of my job that I currently work at, which is a busser at a restaurant. And while I was working there that night, I received some Instagram notifications from pages that I follow, such as the NASCAR and Fox, NASCAR and NBC, all those types of accounts that I follow on Instagram. And I saw the post, and I saw the big news that has come out. It has officially been confirmed. 2311 Racing, one of the brand new teams in NASCAR this year that is owned by Michael Jordan, the Pro Basketball Hall of Famer, the six-time NBA champion, and current NASCAR Cup Series driver Denny Hamlin, the three-time Daytona 500 winner driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, have officially announced that after they introduced their brand new team this year with Bubba Wallace in the number 23 car. By the way, this paint scheme looks really nice. Just want to point out. Anyways, 2311 Racing announced on Friday that they are now opening up to a two-car operation next year in 2022. And all the rumors the past couple of weeks and basically about a month and a half have basically pointed towards one driver to be a possible candidate if they were to expand. And it has officially been confirmed that the second driver of the new 2311 Racing entry will be 2004 NASCAR Cup Series champion and current driver, the number 1 Monster Energy Gear Wrench Tools Chevrolet for Chip Ganassi Racing, in Kurt Busch. There was no surprise, obviously, as I mentioned. The rumors were the last couple of months, and so that if Kurt Busch was not going to be back with Chip Ganassi Racing this year, before the big announcement came that Trackhouse was purchasing Ganassi's assets after the conclusion of this year, that Kurt Busch was probably going to steer towards 2311 Racing. Now, Kurt Busch has driven a Toyota before, not in the Cup Series, but in the Xfinity Series for his younger brother Kyle's team back in 2012 when he ran his own team in the Xfinity Series for just one season before the 54 converted to Joe Gibbs Racing's Xfinity team in 2013. Kurt Busch drove a couple races with Kyle that season, and Kurt ended up beating Kyle's Joe Gibbs teammate Denny Hamlin in the 2012 Xfinity race at Richmond, which was a very exciting finish and got Kyle choked up because for his first one as an owner in the Xfinity Series was pretty cool. And it's also pretty special, but it's also kind of, sad that he couldn't get one with that team because despite the race he ran that year, he didn't win a single race in that car when driving. But all that aside, Kurt Busch will be driving for 2311 Racing next year with Monster Energy coming on board with him. A lot of people were speculating after Ganassi was bought by Trackhouse Racing that they were at their assets at the end of the season. People were wondering, well, which one of the Ganassi drivers is going to be driving that second car because Daniel Suarez was locked up. A lot of people probably thought, well, maybe Kurt Busch, but in my opinion, it was probably going to be Ross Chastain. And early this month, it was announced that Ross Chastain will drive for Trackhouse Racing next year with the number 1 car. So that left Kurt Busch on the outside looking in for a job just after he got his first win of the season at Atlanta Motor Speedway, beating his brother Kyle Busch for the victory. And Kurt stated after he won the race, saying, I want to be in a car next year. I want to drive this next-gen car. Well, congratulations, Kurt. You are officially with this brand new team that will be entering their second year of the Cup Series. Now, the car number has been announced, and it'll be number 45. Now, the significance of this number is because this is the number that Michael Jordan wore after he came out of retirement the first time. Because remember, he retired 3 times. The first time he retired after he won 3 championships. He retired to pursue a baseball career, but then he decided, I miss basketball so much. I'm going to get back on the court. I don't want to go help the Bulls win more championships, but I'm going to change my number since I retired mine. So he chose number 45, and he would go on to win 3 more NBA championships with the Bulls before he hung it up, and then he went on to play for the Washington Wizards. I think that's how it was. I'll be honest, I'm not a diehard basketball fan, and I didn't watch a lot of MJ's career back then because I was not born until after I think he won his final championship. So that's on me, but I'm, again, not a big NBA fan. But that's the significance of this number that Kurt Busch is going to be driving. Now, another person could say, well, let's bring back the 45 number because we hadn't had that number on a NASCAR Cup car since 2008 with you-know-who, Kyle Petty, driving it. Because, let's face it, for the majority of the tenure in NASCAR, Kyle Petty made the number 45 famous, especially considering his son his late son, Adam Petty, wore that number in the Xfinity Series before his life was unfortunately claimed in a practice crash at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 2000, which was a very sad moment. And Kyle decided from 2001 on to 2008 that he would carry the 45. And after he was kind of being pushed out the doors by some of the people running what was then Petty Enterprises, now RPM, Richard Petty Motorsports, after 2008, Kyle just basically decided to hang it up and didn't run in the NASCAR Cup car again. So Kurt Busch will be able to carry this number. Now, Kurt Busch brings a lot of significance to this race team because so far this year, they're not great, but they're not bad. They've done pretty well for themselves. And Michael Jordan has admitted, I want to win in NASCAR. I formed this team because we want to have winners. We want to do something very special. We want to bring more diversity and success into the sport with African Americans in it. And, it's good to have Michael Jordan in there. And, Bubba Wallace has done okay for himself this year, but not great. He finished second this past weekend in the regular season finale at Daytona International Speedway, finishing second to his buddy Ryan Blaney. And, Bubba having a teammate in Kurt Busch brings leadership to this team because Kurt Busch, every time he goes to a different team, he seems to bring more to this team and make them much stronger than they usually have been. After Kurt Busch, for example, after Kurt Busch left Phoenix Racing at the end of 2012 and signed up with Furniture Row Racing in 2013, he got them their first playoff appearance in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, which was then the chase for the Sprint Cup when they were sponsoring our sport in the Premier Series. Kurt got them into the chase that year. He came close to winning a couple races, but it never came through. Regardless, though, Kurt Busch had a bounce-back year in 2013 after a horrible 2012 year. Then in 2014, he went on to Stewart-Haas Racing, who were adding him and Kevin Harvick to the race team. Harvick went on to win the championship. Kurt won a race for the first time in 3 years since 2011 that year, but he really wasn't competitive. And then, of course, beginning of 2015, he was suspended indefinitely after being accused of domestic abuse against ex-girlfriend Patricia Driscoll. But thankfully, Kurt Busch was not convicted with criminal charges, and he was allowed back in NASCAR and went on to win 2 races and make the playoffs. He was consistent again the following year in 2016. And in 2017, he opened up the year winning the Daytona 500. But there were questions about his future with the team after 2017. Thankfully, he came back for another year, won at Bristol. That was my first trip to Bristol, by the way, the race that he won, and that was pretty cool. Better seeing him running up front again at Bristol because he used to be the king of this place before his little brother came along. And then in 2019, he was pushed out of the car and then went over to Chip Ganassi Racing to help that team after they had a pretty mediocre 2018 season with just one car making the playoffs despite no wins from the team whatsoever. Kurt Busch was able to bring in his veteran leadership to the organization, and he was able to get them to victory lane in Kentucky in a close battle with his brother Kyle Busch. And then Kyle Larson won later that year. Then last year, Kurt Busch made the playoffs and won at his home track in Las Vegas and got him to the round of 8. He almost made it to the round of 4, but never materialized in the round of 8 due to an engine failure at Kansas. And then this year, they started out really slow with the one team. Then the summer came and they started to click off good results, probably after the announcement of the the Trackhouse Racing team purchasing Ganassi's assets after this year motivated the team, and Kurt Busch got on at the right time, and he was able to go out and beat his brother Kyle Busch at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the last race before with the old configuration before he gets repaved. And Kurt Busch's been running well lately, and I have no doubt that he can definitely get a victory for this team next year. Now, is this possibly, with this announcement, will this be the last time that Kurt Busch ever drives a NASCAR Cup car next year? Will next year be his final year? He's not really ready to call it quits yet. I mean, Kurt Busch is still competitive. I know people keep saying, okay, yeah, he's there, but you never talk about him. Well, that's kind of the good thing about him. We don't need to talk about Kurt Busch that much because sometimes he runs well and then he shows up at the very end and goes out and wins a race once in a while. I have no doubt that Kurt Busch can bring a lot to the table for this team, and I believe that he can help them get their first win should Bubba not win a race towards the end of this year. Don't get me wrong. I hope this team wins, and I hope Bubba can win a race because Michael Jordan brought him on for a reason. He believes in him, and they have the funding for Bubba with DoorDash and Columbia PFG and McDonald's and Dr. Pepper, all these sponsors. And Kurt Busch bringing in Monster Energy definitely helps. Now, will Kurt Busch get sponsorship from 2311 with those sponsors that Bubba has, or could Kurt also bring Gear Wrench Tools, another this sponsor, another sponsor that's been with him with Ganassi the last few years? Will they come along with him too? That's a question that remains to be asked. The other question that looms is this car does not have a charter. They did not announce it when they revealed that Kurt Busch was going to be the driver. But Denny Hamlin admitted that he's not worried about it whatsoever. I'm sure this team's going to be able to acquire a charter, and he'll lock himself into every race. I mean, there are reports that Rick Ware Racing may downsize to a 3-car team next year. They have 4 cars. All of them have a charter. He may sell one of those charters to 2311 Racing's second entry. So that could be something, but we will remain to be seen. It's a question that remains to be answered, but I believe this team will have a charter for 2022, and I can't wait to see what Kurt Busch brings to the table. Now, another thing that was also revealed in the picture and video shoot of Kurt Busch joining 2311 Racing is what the next-gen car is going to look like next year with the number placement. So the number is, so take a look with this example with this diecast car. Hopefully I can explain it. So you see the number right here. It's going to shift a little forward this way. And it's basically kind of like a little bit of a counterpart of what we saw when we ran the All-Star race in Bristol last year, where the number was pushed a little bit back towards here and we had the sponsor all the way over here. Let me be honest with you folks. I'm not a big fan of this. Do I think it's a little better than the All-Star race number placement we had? Yes. But it's you know how I keep saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I feel like they're kind of breaking a tradition with this. Though, I've seen a couple posts on Instagram from an Eric Jones car he ran at Bristol for Furniture Row Racing in 2017 with sports clips on his car. His number was a little lean towards the backside of the front tires in that race. So that could be something. I mean, and Denny Hamlin did confirm that the number placement that was shown on Kurt's car when it was revealed may not be that far. They may shift it back a couple of inches, so it may not be the official number placement right there. They could move it back, but it also depends on the other teams, what their sponsors are, and how they will design the number placement on there. It may take time for me to get used to, and every NASCAR fan that is not a big fan of it right now. It's a polarizing topic of discussion, but we'll see how this materializes. Maybe some of us will like it, and maybe some of us will still disagree with it. But, that's what's happening with the sport right now. We're changing with a next-gen car that's, going to have a diffuser in the back, that's going to try to hopefully enhance the competition between all the teams, and also it's going to provide just tire changes with one lug attached to the wheel. So this is going to be interesting. It's almost going to be like an IndyCar Formula 1 pit stop. Not as fast as Formula 1. Those things go really fast. Pretty much like an IndyCar stop, like 8 seconds, 10 seconds on pit road, which saves the amount of time and can also speed up the race. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. But that was the big announcement that came out of Friday, was that Kurt Busch will drive for Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's team 2311 Racing next year as a teammate to Bubba Wallace. The number will be 45. The sponsor will be Monster Energy. And we also see where the number placement is. And the big question that still remains is this last season for Kurt Busch? And also, will this team get a charter? I believe they will. They'll figure out something. So I'm going to leave you with that regarding the news about Kurt Busch. I'm very happy for him, and I hope he can bring a lot to this team next year and get them some wins and allow them to compete for a championship. It's going to be very interesting, and with the backing they have from Joe Gibbs Racing, they'll still be very competitive next year. So on Thursday, I'm going to run through the playoff drivers, the 16 men that are in the playoffs, and I'm going to show you all what I think is going to happen through the playoffs, who's going to make it out of each round, and who's going to make it to the championship 4. I'll show that on my whiteboard upstairs on Thursday. So I hope you guys tune in for that, and I can't wait to see what your opinions are about what's going to happen in the playoffs. In the meantime, leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about the announcement of Kurt Busch to 2311 Racing. Will they acquire a charter, and what you think about the number placement? I want to hear what you guys have to say. So in the meantime, subscribe, like, and congratulations, Kurt, on getting a ride for 2022. I can't wait to see what you bring to this team next year, and hopefully you can make these guys a legitimate race winning team and championship team next year. Until then, guys, have a good day.